Yes. All right, Mr. Hallenbach is going to do our budget presentation.
Absolutely.
I'm going to move.
Board members, you're free to join the audience if you'd like. You also have a copy of the presentation in front of you that I'm going to give here this evening. So much of what is included in this presentation are things that we have shared both at our March meeting and our April Board of Education special hearing as well. One of the things that we talked about is the fact that, like many school districts across the country and across the state of New Jersey in general, we have large expenditure increases, some of which are controllable, others that are not. Salaries across the district are going up $583,000 as a result of collective bargaining agreements. We have a reduction in federal funding for FICA and Medicare. Pension costs are up $107,000. Health benefits is the very, very difficult one, up $902,000. We are actually part of the state health benefits plan. It is a program operated by the state of New Jersey that incorporates school employees, municipal employees, judges, firefighters, each of which have different components to their plan. The state increased premiums in that plan by 22% on average January of last year, this past year. The second half of that increase, because the health plan operates on a January to December basis, it actually spans two separate budget years for us. We looked at multiple times moving from the state health benefits plan to other private insurance companies. If you understand anything about healthcare and private insurance, something called a loss experience, which is basically how much you pay in premiums versus how much your health plan pays out in claims. Typically, the insurance industry wants to see no more than 80% of the premiums collected paid out in claims. All right, that 20% is their operating cost and their profit. In the case of Hopatcong schools, 2 years ago, our experience rating was 107%. This past year, it was 111%, which means we pay in less than the plan pays out in claims. So another insurance company isn't really banging down the doors to offer us good rates and take us on as a customer. We're considered higher risk. Insurance, that's just the increase in workers' compensation insurance. That does not include increases to our liability, officers and directors, and errors and omissions. We did make some additional cuts to facilities, tuition for out-of-district special ed students and other students. The other is charter schools and VOTEC payments, and then increases to transportation. So you see our costs there up almost $2.6 million. Our revenue reductions. The end of federal ESSER funding is $250,000. We were told to plan for a 25% reduction in federal grant funding. I hope that's going to be enough, although there are points in time where I believe additional cuts will be forthcoming from the federal government, but not before there are large court fights that address that. A reduction in semi-Medicaid payments to the school district. Students that have special needs might require speech therapy, occupational therapy, counseling, nursing services. If they are low income and part of the Medicaid program, we are responsible, one, for providing those services in the district during the time they're enrolled in school, and we are responsible for billing the state Medicaid program for the cost of those services. The state has unbundled those costs along with the federal government. Previously, a 30-minute session on average through the Medicaid program was about $34 in reimbursable costs. That has been cut down to $4 per service. We have to budget that amount of money as revenue in our budget. And then we have to physically go out and bill for all of those services. This past year, we were required to budget $97,000 in revenue. But we are only going to get $13,000 actually back from the Medicaid program. A budget hole of $84,000, or basically one teacher. And there is no way that we can just say, well, we're not going to get it, we're not going to budget. Because the software that comes from the state with your budget automatically has those figures loaded in it. The state is trying to address it, but if you have read any of the news regarding tax cuts and things on a nationwide basis, one of the additional areas that is potentially going to be targeted for federal budget cuts is the Medicaid program itself as well. We were budgeting for a state aid reduction. We actually got a little bit of an increase. And because over the last couple of years, we have been previously using excess surplus to fund our future year's budgets, when your costs go up and you don't have money left at the end of every year in savings to push forward to help pay for bills in a future year, you end up with that shortfall. So we will be down $600,000 in available funding to pay for future year expenses. I talked a lot about this in the presentation previously, what makes up our budget. 75% of our entire budget is salaries and benefits. Transportation costs make up about 8% of our budget. Tuition out of district, VOTEC charter makes up almost 6.5% of our budget. Facilities, oil, electricity, buildings and grounds maintenance, custodial make up 3.3% of our budget. The referendum, the tax referendum that the community passed last year, all right, that's 4.1% of your budget. And discretionary spending. Discretionary sounds kind of silly, but it's also the smallest part of our budget. Supplies, textbooks, clubs, athletics, professional development makes up 3.1% of our budget. This is a look at something that's called adequacy as released by the State Department of Education. And the state took a look at a number of factors. It takes a look at your prior year tax levy, here for Hopatcong, $28 million. It says, according to its analysis of Hopatcong, Hopatcong's local fair share, or what it can afford as its tax levy, is actually $34.8 million. Then it takes a look at what's called adequacy. How much are you spending to educate your students in Hopatcong, and what does the state think you should be spending to provide them with a thorough and efficient, adequate education? The difference here is $4 million. So the state has said our local fair share is under what we should be paying as taxpayers in Hopatcong, and the Hopatcong School District is spending less than it should be spending to provide an adequate education to students in Hopatcong by $4 million. Now, we can't turn around under the current law and raise taxes by $4 million to make up that shortfall. But the state, in this year's budget, has provided something that's called a tax levy incentive. It allows school districts that are highlighted in yellow, in this case, this is just Sussex County, that are both under their local fair share and under adequacy to exceed the 2% cap to increase their taxes as a way to start to cut into that amount that they are under adequately funded. All right? If you read the newspaper, you'll see school districts across the state are looking to raise their taxes above that 2%. Little Egg Harbor today in the news wanting to increase its tax levy by 36%. Raritan Flemington School District, I think by 22. All right. This is a look at our taxes and our tax levy in Hopatcong dating back to 2009, 2010. And you'll see that the total tax increase as a percentage of the tax levy since 2009-10 has gone up by 27.69%. Inflation, or the CPI, during that same time has gone up 43%. The average CPI increase is 3.8%. The average tax increase in Hopatcong has been 1.7%. And if you notice the years 17, 18, all the way up through 21, 22, there was either no tax increase or a local tax decrease. Okay. This was part of our media that we showed as part of the referendum. So prior to the referendum, Hopatcong's distribution of taxes, 51.9% of your tax bill as a resident of Hopatcong went to the school district. The remaining 21.7% went to the County of Sussex, and 25.7% went to the municipality. We are third lowest in the county as a percentage of your tax bill that supports schools. As a result of the first two slides that I showed you, increased cost and decreased revenue, we entered this budget year with a deficit of $3.6 million. We have made program cuts, we have made contractual cuts to certain facilities, to vendors that we utilize. We've deferred the cost of textbooks. We've deferred purchasing new Chromebooks next year for certain grade levels of students. We are amending our transportation. If you're a student in the state of New Jersey and you attend an elementary school and you live less than 2 miles from school, under state law, you do not have to be provided with transportation. The Hopatcong Board of Ed provides courtesy transportation for those students. If you are a student at the secondary level, that radius is 2.5 miles. We provide transportation to those students as a courtesy as well. Next year, as a result of those budget cuts, students in 4th grade through 12th grade, a larger percentage of those students will not receive courtesy transportation next year, and those families will be notified at the end of May. Those are generally folks that live in the Heights section of town. Those are people that live south of Modic Park, and those are folks that live south of Broadway Avenue. If you live east of Lakeside, you'll continue to receive transportation because you can't cross Lakeside Boulevard. All of those changes are already in alignment with our existing board policy with regard to transportation. It's nice to be able to offer it. It's not a mandate, but it is incredibly expensive. That change to transportation alone correlates to about a $220,000 savings to the school district, okay? In addition to that, we will be cutting 9 positions this year. We will be cutting multiple advisor positions. We will be cutting multiple athletic coaching positions as a way to try to save additional funds. And each of those decisions are made based upon a number of factors: enrollment, our course offerings, and our staffing. In the case of the positions that are up there, I will be notifying the individual affected employees tomorrow of the fact that if the board passes this budget, their positions won't be renewed for the next school year. At the current time, all of those individuals that are impacted are non-tenured employees. We are cutting money from our homeless tuition. I talked about this at our last meeting. If a student lives in Hopatcong and their family becomes homeless and they have to move to a shelter, another family's house in Parsippany, but they still want to come to school here in Hopatcong, under federal and state law, we are required to provide them with their education here, which means I have to send a bus to Parsippany to pick them up every day and bring them here. And we are responsible for that cost. If they decide they want to go to school in Parsippany, I have to pay the cost of tuition for that child to go to school in Parsippany. And after 365 days of consecutive residency in wherever they might be staying, that child becomes the responsibility of that new school district. But in theory, if on day 364, I become homeless again from where I was staying in Parsippany and I move to Roxbury, that 365-day window starts all over again. The number of children that we are seeing both in district, our students who are homeless, is increasing. The number of students that are homeless from other school districts that are doubling up and living with families in Hopatcong is increasing. We're cutting professional development. We are cutting our seasonal summer custodians. We will no longer have summer helpers to provide our custodial staff with help. We are cutting overtime for our custodial staff. Supplies, we are cutting tuition reimbursement for our administrators. We are cutting substitutes. It's in here now, and I'll talk about this. Attendance at the high school and middle school was slated to be cut. I talked about Chromebooks, and I talked about textbooks. You see all of those savings and what they add up to in addition to the other work that we've done. With all of those changes, we have been able to balance the budget, but require a tax increase. Based on a tax increase of 3.62%, we can balance the budget, and the cost to the average assessed property of $345,000 is $120 a year, $10.06 a month. Now, the governor in his budget said, hey, listen, you're eligible for a tax levy incentive. And what does that mean? It means if we wanted to raise our taxes above 3.62%, we could do so with approval of the commissioner's office, which we submitted an application to. And the commissioner's office will allow us to increase both our local tax levy, and they will provide us with a little bit of extra state aid, up to 5% of the total amount that we've requested. We requested an additional tax increase of $397,000, 1.38%. The state will kick in $18,861. It equates to roughly a 5% tax increase. Today, nothing like the state cutting it really, really close. At 3:30 this afternoon, I got a letter from the commissioner's office saying, we have approved your application. The total amount that they approved is a little shy of our original increase of $397. So the total tax increase, if the Board of Education chose to do it tonight, would be 4.93%. Okay? 4.96% would be the total amount. So if you are an average homeowner, with that additional increase, your total increase for the year, $166. Okay? $13.90 a month. All right? I understand that times are difficult, that costs are up. The same is true for a school district. What I pay for heating oil, you pay for heating oil. Somebody asked me a couple of weeks ago, how many of you have ever had to replace your hot water in Hopatcong? Right? You know what a plumber costs for you to replace your hot water heater? $1,000. Our hot water heaters are a lot bigger, certainly more complex. Our hot water heaters anywhere from $12,000 to $18,000 each. All of those costs are more when you have a larger facility and a larger organization. As part of this tax levy incentive, I talked about this last time. After we struck our budget in March, we had a student move into the district who has special needs that requires a very specialized placement. The cost of that placement, roughly $98,000 a year. Had this child moved in after our budget was finalized, we would be on the hook for that cost. It most likely would have meant that we would have had to have let go another staff member in order to be able to afford it. We would be looking to add a grade 9 to 12 teacher back to the budget to offer elective classes at the high school and address class sizes. I have to pay for health insurance as a result of that employee. We're looking to add some of the money back to homeless tuition and transportation. We'd be looking to restore the attendance cuts at the middle school and the high school. And we'd be looking to restore an elementary guidance counselor. As part of our original budget, the plan was to cut one of the elementary guidance counselors and share that position between the two elementary schools. Not ideal, but given our budget circumstances, it's something that we would have had to have done. Trying everything within our power to limit the impact on classrooms. And notice I said limit. We're beyond preventing impacts to classrooms. That is going to continue to happen. Because if I can only increase my budget in a normal year by 2%, and my costs just to break even are going to be at 3 or 4%, I'm always going to be in a position until the state addresses the funding formula properly to be able to balance my budget. As I said to this board in March, and I said it to you again in April, the governor has touted the fact that he is fully funding the funding formula, but it's disingenuous. The total dollar amount is being fully funded, the pot of money, but how it's divvied up is not according to that funding formula. The state put a 3% cap on how much state aid you could lose. But in order to put that floor in place, it had to put a cap on how much you could increase your state aid. I said our state aid went up by about 174,000. But according to the funding formula, our state aid should have gone up 830,000. We are short $560,000 in state aid that we will not see in this budget year as a result of the governor putting a cap on tax increases. Will we see that money in future years? If you've ever used the magic 8-ball, right now mine says the future is cloudy. Right? You will have a new governor next year. The entire legislature is up for election in November. I don't know what that holds in store for school funding in future years. But the reality is, this is where we have to be. And the fact of the matter is, we're $4 million under adequacy. And as I said at our April meeting, and I said at our March meeting, on average, a local high school district next door to us, who will remain nameless, because their budgets have passed every year, spend almost $3,500 more per student on programming and staffing than we can afford to do. And if you take that number times 400 high school students, you're at $1.3 million more that they can spend on educating students than we can here. That's a reality. That's a reality of where we're at. We're going to continue to try to do everything that we can do to offer the best possible education to our students. And my commitment to you as a board was to find every savings we could, look for every opportunity to maximize revenues, and try and do everything possible to continue to offer a positive education for our students, and we'll continue to do that. So with that, I'll conclude my presentation. Madam President, I'll turn the meeting back over to you.
Okay, can I please have a motion to? Oh, okay, I didn't realize that.
Yep.
Grab those.
Yep. Hey, Kevin, can you grab the sign sheet?
So now we're going to open public comment just to issues pertaining to the budget. So I'll call the people on here. If you didn't want to speak about the budget, you wanted to speak during public comment, the regular session, just let me know. I have Mr. Austin Brown.
Yeah, so this is my first time at an event like this, so I just wanted to hear how this all gets broken down. I just, what's in the back of my head, what I'm feeling. I know that numbers and decimals and percentages, all those things are super important. I just hope that, what the kids are getting is at the forefront of decision making. I'm content with whatever happens today, obviously, and I'm sure there are other people who think the same or think differently, but I hope that the kids benefit from the actions after all of what goes on tonight. That's really it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks.
Mr. Thomas Schramm.
I want to save my comment for the general section. Thank you.
Mr. Steve Renell.
First of all, I'd like to thank Jeff, who came to the meeting last night of the Democratic, last month, last month, and gave an overview of the budget, who gave an excellent overview. That I would like to report that a number of people who are anti-school system and anti-budget came up to me and said, now that I'm educated, I feel much better. Okay, two people who were really, really anti-school system and anti-budget. Okay. I also think Nicole did a superb job at the tricky trade, and it really was a lot of fun. They needed, $30,000 or $40,000 was made. They did a great job on the chicken. It was wonderful.
I've learned how to use the fryer this year, everybody. I've added that to my resume.
My wife won't let me eat fried food, so make sure you have to have pasta. That's all.
I can make that happen.
I was talking to Stephanie, and she said she won 4 things at the chicken trade. I was amazed at the gifts. I was amazed at the way it was set up with the tables and the chairs. It was really, really well done. I'm concerned about this budget. I'm concerned about the cuts to staff. I'm concerned about the concerns about the cuts to textbooks, the Chrome. I think there are important things. I think we need to educate the public more about what's going on, the positive things in our school system. And I want to thank Jeff, and I want to thank the board for all the hard work you did in putting this budget together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the public who'd like to speak about the budget who didn't get a chance to sign up? Mrs. Johnson?
I think you guys are in a really tough position. And you know that I support the schools 100%. And I know that the decision that you guys have to make is not an easy one. It's really tough. You guys are taxpayers for yourselves. The question I often get in the position I'm in is, and I can't speak to it because I'm not on the school board, is, cutting 9 teachers, that's a lot of teachers. And we have kids that are already in classes that are, we have ratios we have to keep. I know special ed is 8-to-1 or 9-to-1, and I know in regular ed there are ratios. Is there a danger that we're going to exceed those ratios? How are we not going to exceed those ratios? And then the other question that I get asked a whole lot, is have we actively looked? I know we have in the past, but have we actively looked at other districts around? Now, I know when not the previous superintendent, but 2 previous superintendents had reached out to Roxbury, Randolph, Kittatinny, Newton, Sparta, Lenavee, and they all went nowhere, because I know it's a humongous process. It's a very cumbersome process, because not only do you need each Board of Education to agree, you also need each town council to agree on the merge. And if one of those things goes haywire, it's off the table, it's done. So that's the question I get asked a lot, is has that been looked into currently? Is there a plan to do that? If we have been looking into it, why hasn't it happened? Because with one of the districts that was gonna yes, and then they no'd, it was, we don't want Hopatcong students there, which I think is an absolute parent problem. I don't think the kids care. I think it's the parents who care, and can we do something, about that? Sorry, that was one question. I apologize. Thank you.
Let me try and answer that question. And thank you for that question, Jen. So on the issue of consolidation and looking for dance partners, right, as we've talked about it in the past, we continue to do that on an ongoing basis. We can't dozy-do if we don't have a dance partner. And the reality here is we don't have a dance partner. The governor, through the Department of Community Affairs and through the budget process in previous years, floated out tax relief and additional funding opportunities for the state to fund pilot projects to investigate whether or not consolidation was feasible and the amount of savings. One school, one county, I want to say it's Ocean, but I may be wrong, undertook part of that study, and they're still looking at that to actually consolidate as a county school district, all right? The problem with this process is, part of what you said is correct. The part that's missing is that it's not just the school boards from each of those municipalities have to agree. It's the voters in each one of those school districts have to vote on any potential merger. So I'll give you the example I've used before. Before I started in Hopatcong 20-something years ago, I worked in Belvedere. Belvedere was a K-12 district that received high school students from Hope, Harmony, and White Townships. We looked at consolidating 24 years ago. And as part of that process, went through a study. The taxes, if I remember correctly, would have stayed the same or gone down in Hope, Harmony, and Belvedere, but the taxes would have gone up in White Township. Hope, Harmony, and Belvedere, all of the taxpayers in the community at a referendum said yes, and the voters in White Township said no. And as a result, any potential merger falls apart. That is the way the legislation is written. There are other components that go on behind the scenes that have to do with collective bargaining. So anytime multiple school districts merge together, you basically take the collective bargaining agreements of all of those entities, and you take the best provisions of all of their individual contracts that now becomes the super contract. So if Jim's school district has the best, the best salary guide, and mine has the best health care, and Jason's has the best working hours, all of those things just came together to form your new contract. So a lot of times, there aren't savings to be had. The other component of that is when you look at school districts and consolidation, you're looking to save on administrative costs. There aren't many administrators here in Hopatcong. And you're looking to save on collective bargaining agreements. One of the things the state of New Jersey did under Governor Murphy's first administration is pass legislation that impacts outsourcing of collectively bargained groups. And basically the law as it exists now says, let's say I have a collective bargaining agreement with my flower laborers union 101, right? If their collective bargaining agreement is coming to a close, I can't just decide to go and outsource the production of flour for my organization when the contract ends. I actually have to have a year cooling off period where we investigate and I try and negotiate with the existing union. And after that year, if we can't come to an agreement, then I can start the process of investigating outsourcing. And once I have all of those proposals, then I have to come back to my existing union and negotiate with them off the proposals from the outsourcing and give them a chance to meet those requirements. It is a process that takes 2 to 3 years. And I can't tell you, since that legislation passed, that I know of any outsourcing that has occurred since those laws have passed. There may be, but I don't know of any in a public sector that have happened after that legislation passed, and it makes it incredibly difficult to be able to save additional funds.
Do any of these legislators realize that all of these things don't actually help the taxpayers of New Jersey? Like, or educate children? Like, that's the most, and I know you didn't write, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. That you can't take control of your own tax dollars in your own district and use it for educating your children or improving your buildings. I mean, when did that pass?
2018, 2019.
Yeah, I think 2019,
Yeah.
but
That makes sense.
2019.
probably an election year.
That was too.
Just a guess, just a guess.
Jeff, I'm sure it was an election year.
Thank you for your question.
But Jeff, do you want to address the class sizes?
Yeah, so on the class size end, the staff members that are being non-renewed, we are going to use something called option 2 that allows flexibility in how students can earn credit for certain classes. We are not touching any of our elementary classes where our class sizes are admittedly higher than in other areas. But I'll be honest and forthright, right? If you read the news, you see this notion of the educational cliff, not just a fiscal cliff, but an enrollment cliff, right? Over the last 12, 15 years, the number of families who have had children and the number of children per family has been decreasing. And at the higher education level, you're seeing enrollment drops of 10 to 20%. We've seen our enrollment drop along those lines. It will be interesting to see how we address and how as a nation that those enrollment changes continue. We made it through COVID. We saw a little bit of a rebound in births, but you see a cyclical approach to the birth rate as tied to the economy. And given the economic uncertainty currently, it will be interesting to see how that impacts birth rates in this country. But we wouldn't see an impact for that for another 4, 5, 6 years anyway. But it's something that you have to take a look at, but it's difficult to plan for as well.
Just want to, do we still have agreements with Sussex County Community College as it's option 2? I don't know if it's option B or option 2. Option 2. And then we used to have, didn't we have a contract with, an agreement with either Seton Hall or William Patterson?
Yeah. We have credit sharing agreements and dual enrollment agreements with a number of school districts or colleges that students can take classes here or off-site and earn both high school credit and college credit for their participation. No. No.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else in the audience who didn't get to sign up for budget?
Just a quick question. Do we know how many kids are graduating high school this year? The number?
I want to say this year's graduating class is right around 90 or 91 students.
So it continues to drop.
This year's class is. Subsequent years' classes, I don't know how many will graduate, but based on in-district and out-of-district enrolled students, we're about there.
Because my son graduated in 2020 and it was 95. So it continues.
Last year it was like 104.
Yeah, last year was higher, this year is a little lower. Next year's senior class is in that 100 range.
And
But
do we
I
know, I
believe-
know our elementary school is huge, but I also know that a lot of kids, once they hit the 6th grade, they tend to go out to charter. Do we know the percentage of the kids that go out to charter?
Changes every year, somewhere in the 8 to 10% range.
And how about after 8th grade graduation going off to
Tech or to
John,
So we don't track who goes to private school, right? We can track who goes to tech, and we have a listing of those kids. And again, depends on programs. Tech is actually cutting a number of programs this year because of their budget as well. And we have a number of kids that go to choice, but those numbers are dependent on how many seats a choice district has and who wins the lottery. And that changes any given year. Anywhere from 13 to 17 students take advantage of choice at the high school level in any graduating year. As a school district, we did petition the Commissioner of Ed to limit the percentage of students who can attend school choice programs. And the commissioner, even though the law allows for it, the commissioner denied that request, stating that the benefit to the 10, 12, 15 kids who take advantage of choice is greater than the financial implications to the remaining students in the school district, because all of that state aid goes with those kids to the other school district. We were greatly disenchanted by that decision and certainly don't agree with it, but that's the commissioner's decision for now.
And just a reminder, it costs $17,000 to go to charter school? Is that what it was?
$17,000 in tuition
That we have to pay?
that the taxpayers pay to send a child to
Right,
charter
so
school.
that's my whole point.
Yeah. But they are allowed by law to choose to go.
Right, and that's why we need to figure out a way to keep them here, not send them to charter or Pope John or Mars Catholic. Or
But I want you to be very, very careful with the choice of words. We are not sending them anywhere. They are choosing to go somewhere
They're
else.
choosing, we need to find a way to keep them here.
that $4 million that we're underfunded would go a long way into bringing back programs that we have had to cut over the last 10, 12 years that other school districts can offer. But again, we are limited by how much we can increase our taxes to be able to do
We are
that.
underfunding our schools. Lenape can spend an extra $3,000 a student to educate their kids. So until we can rally and properly fund the school budget, we are going to be faced with that challenge because, money is money. And the more you have of it, the more you can offer. And a lot of kids, a lot of kids and a lot of people get hung up on, more is better and the grass is greener. And I like our grass here. I want everybody to stay on our grass. So we're trying the best, we're trying the best that we can. But when the public talks about not wanting to spend any more money on a failing school system, we have to think about what we've done in the past, which is fail the school system. So we need to right the ship. And today is terrible. It makes me sick to my stomach to have to vote on this budget. I've lost sleep over it, and I'm going to continue to fight to properly fund it. And if I could raise the taxes 13.01% to get us to that $4 million that we're underfunded, I would do it.
I would too.
You guys would do that. I don't think the town would like that, though.
Well, the town has not been funding. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, this is not a public back and forth discourse. So I appreciate you all speaking up. I do understand that people want choices, and I would love to give students in Hopatcong more choices. Okay, with that said, can I please have a motion to close the public budget hearing?
I'll make it. I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Hallenbeck, can you please call the roll?
On the motion by Ms. Polichanis and seconded by Ms. Goulan, Dr. Capello?
Yes.
Mr. Davio?
Yes.
Ms. Schramm?
Yes.
Mr. Chaffee?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Ms. Polachina?
Yes.
Mr. Citrich?
Yes.
Ms. Goulan?
Yes.
And Ms. Falcone Schubert.
Yes.
Jeff, based on the presentation, I'd like to make a motion to revise the preliminary budget as a result of the public hearing and the application for tax levy incentive aid as outlined for the fiscal year 2026 Appropriations Act and as submitted to the NJDOE Commissioner on April 9th, 2025.
I'll second.
So the motion is to revise the preliminary budget as a result of the public hearing based on the application submitted to the Commissioner of Education on April 9th under the FY26 Appropriations Act. Can I have the motion by Dr. Capello and seconded by
Ms. Polachina?
Ms. Polachina? I'll have a roll call after you open it up to board discussion. Again, this is just a motion to revise the budget.
This is a motion to revise the budget according to the presentation where we're able to increase the taxes to a total of 4.96%, bringing back some positions and increase in certain line budget items to help get us through the next school year. Any discussion?
Yeah, as much as I don't like to increase taxes, I personally don't see how you could not vote in favor of this. It's unfortunate.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Okay. On the motion to revise the budget, motion by Dr. Capello, seconded by Ms. Polachina. Dr. Capello?
Yes.
Mr. Davio?
Yes.
Ms. Schramm?
Yes.
Mr. Chaffee?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Ms. Polachina?
Yes.
Mr. Citrich?
Yes.
Ms. Goulan?
Yes.
And Ms. Falcone Schubert.
Yes.
As a result of that motion, let me provide to the public, the board, you have your copy in front of you. The 7B is the approval now of the following resolution for submission of the revision or the revised 25-26 school budget to the Sussex County Superintendent. It reads as follows. Whereas the superintendent has presented to the Finance Committee and other members of the Hopatcong Board of Education a recommended 2025-2026 school district budget in the amount of $43,320,011 as follows, And whereas the board approves a local tax levy of $30,127,302, whereas the local tax levy will be increased by a total of 4.96%, comprised of a 2% increase of $574,073.78 and a 1.62% bank cap exception in the amount of $463,894.22, and a fiscal year 26 Appropriations Act tax levy incentive increase of 1.34% in the amount of $385,645, which will be itemized below, for a total tax levy increase of $1,423,613. And whereas the budget includes the withdrawal of $1,369,296 from capital reserve for the purposes of paying down referendum bonds, and therefore be it resolved that the Hopatcong School District 25-26 budget for submission to the Sussex County Superintendent's Office is approved as follows on the meeting agenda of April 28, 2026. The following line items will be amended as a result of this tax levy increase. Count number 11-000-100-56207. Description special ed out-of-district tuition increased by $98,000. Count number 11-140-100-101-01. A grade 9 to 12 teacher in the amount of $79,410. Count number 11-000-291-270-01. Health benefits in the amount of $45,589. Count number 11-000-100-566-0702. Homeless tuition in the amount of $10,000. Count number 11-000-270-518-0702. Homeless transportation, an increase of $10,929. Count number 11-190-100-106-0102. Attendance office staff, $18,000. Count number 11-190-100-106-0102. Attendance office staff, $18,000. Count number 11-000-218-104-01. Elementary guidance in the amount of $79,410. And account number 11-000-291-270-01. Health benefits, $45,589. A total amount of $404,927. The tax levy incentive, itemized budgetary accounting of specific costs that are approved as part of the 1.34 additional tax levy incentive increase is included in this motion.
Mr. Hallenbach, can you please call the roll?
Discussion.
Oh, on this. Any discussion on the increase?
One quick question. The benefits, the two lines here that say benefits, that's for the specific employee made above it, right?
Correct.
And what about the attendance officer staff? There's no benefits to those people?
No.
Part-time.
Part-time, okay.
Any additional discussion? Okay, please call the roll, Mr. Hallenbach.
Need a motion and a second on the new resolution, please.
Oh, that's uncovered, I just.
No,
opened it.
7B. I need a motion and a second,
I'll
please.
make it.
I'll second.
And then Natalia.
On the motion by Ms. Polachina, seconded by Dr. Capello. On roll call vote, Dr. Capello?
Yes.
Mr. Davio?
Yes.
Ms. Schramm?
Yes.
Mr. Chaffee?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Ms. Polachina?
Yes.
Mr. Citrich?
Yes.
Ms. Gulon?
Yes.
Ms. Falcone Schubert?
Yes. Thank you all. Okay. Moving on to item 8, which is the approval of the minutes from our March 17th executive session and regular meeting. Can I please have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
On the motion for 8A, the minutes of the meetings of March 17th, regular and executive session, Dr. Capello?
Yes.
Mr. Davia?
Yes.
Ms. Schramm?
Yes.
Mr. Chaffee?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
I abstain. I was not at that meeting.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Polachina?
Yes.
Mr. Citrich?
Yes.
Ms. Gulon?
Yes.
And Ms. Falcone Schubert?
Yes. Next, we're going to move on to the superintendent's report and the HIB report.
Unfortunately, I don't have my student representatives here with us. They are diligently preparing for the lightning thief that is coming up this weekend. I know we're going to have a representative from one of our organizations talk about it in a little while, so I don't want to steal her thunder other than to say, please come. Please come. It's going to be a wonderful opportunity to see some tremendous young men and women taking the stage. It's a wonderful performance, and I'll let you talk a little bit about it here in a couple of minutes. We do have some HIB reports for April for first reading. As a board in executive session, we did go through and look at those individual HIB reports. We have 5 confirmed HIBs for the month of April. We have 2 code of conduct violations, and we have 1 issue that was neither a code of conduct nor a HIB on first reading for April. With that, let me conclude my superintendent's report, as we've covered just about everything else this evening, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, can I please have a motion to approve the superintendent's report and the HIB report?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
On the motion by Mr. Davio and seconded by Dr. Capello. Dr. Capello?
Yes.
Mr. Davio?
Yes.
Ms. Schramm?
Yes.
Mr. Chaffee?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Ms. Polachina?
Yes.
Mr. Citrich?
Abstain.
And Ms. Gulon?
Yes.
And Ms. Falcone Schubert?
Yes. Next, moving on to the best part of the meeting, the acknowledgements and correspondence for all the great things that the kids are doing and their teachers.
Absolutely. So congratulations to our middle school students who made honor roll for the honor roll and high honor roll for the 3rd marking period. The same to our high school students, honor roll and high honor roll for the 3rd marking period. Congratulations to our high school students of the month for the marking period. 8th grade, Melisanda Sennett, honorable mention Hayden Arnold and Giancarlo Gallego. Grade 9, Jacob Leos, honorable mention Reagan Gravatt and Noah Cortez. Grade 10, Annalise Dillenkoffer, honorable mention goes to Jocelyn Ruiz, Savannah Scott, and Lillian Zanzilli. Grade 11 goes to Jayla Lynn Ortiz, honorable mention to Antonio Sudik. And grade 12, Andrea Godfrey, honorable mention to Ashley Maurer and Ali Elmanier. Congratulations to our students who were chosen as middle school students of the month for their outstanding performance. In grade 4, it's Ramon Santos. In grade 5, it's Neela Daron. In grade 6, Ian Nunez Delgado. And grade 7, Katrina Bender and Braden Coleman. Congratulations to all of those students on their outstanding achievements and efforts during the 3rd marking period.
Okay, next we're going to move on to parent-teacher organization representatives. I know we have Miss Platt here from the Drama Club. Would you like to talk to us about the production?
Hi, everyone. This is my first year as the Drama Club president. I'm very excited. My daughter is a freshman this year. The great thing about the high school is 8th graders are able to join the high school production, which for some people it seems scary, but my child absolutely loved it. And this year we have, I believe, 6 students who are 8th grade who are getting to benefit and be in this production at a level of, a high school level. It's a really cool play. The best part about it is our middle school students, I believe in 6th grade, read this book. So now they get to see it come to life with their peers and older sisters. I know I have a 6th grader and my daughter is Annabeth, which is the lead of the play. So she gets to watch what she read, her sister become this larger-than-life character. Performances are May 1st, May 2nd, and May 3rd. That starts at 7 o'clock. I know if you're local, I would come Thursday or Friday because I feel like traffic with sinkholes. It's a little tough. And then Sunday we do our matinee. We actually have a Scouts Day. So we have some families for Scouts coming, which is very cool. They're going to get to go backstage and meet the cast and everything. And it's going to be a great production. We're going to send out a promo video so you can watch a little. Tickets are available online through Ticket Tailor. We've kind of been blasting everything everywhere. So if you can't find it, just call the school or ask for Nikki. I have information over there, and we hope to see you all at this phenomenal performance we're going to be putting on this weekend.
And a lot of the teachers are going to be offering some type of assignment that goes along with attending, and homework passes or extra credit. So if you have incoming fifth graders, it would be great for them to come and watch it, get a feel for what they're going to be reading. Same thing goes for sixth graders, and then just coming out to support, all of our fellow students. And we're hoping to pack the house.
Thank you to the administration for doing that. That's really great.
Thank you. Anyone else from an organization who wants to speak?
Always.
Okay, great.
I first wanted to say that I'm offended whenever people say that, they don't want to pack on kids around them. We have some of the very best kids. We have the new music ensemble performing at William Patterson University on May 5th. On May 15th is the middle school concert. A week later on the 21st is the high school concert. So those are opportunities just to see the bands. But it goes beyond that. The kids are involved in so many things. Come catch a baseball game. Come catch a softball game. See them at the track meet. I hear there's a game at Skyline Stadium on May 12th. I'm really excited about that. I'm going to take my whole family to see the baseball team play. But the kids are doing so many great things. So it's not just what you hear like on Facebook, what you read, what the neighbors are saying. I think that just come out and see the kids, to the whole public. Tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell your family. Come see these kids. Come see the things that they get into, They work really hard.
Yeah.
And that game on May 12th at Skyland Stadium is a rivalry game. That is Hopatcong and Lenape Valley.
Sounds perfect.
Is there any other parent organizations? I just want to piggyback. The Booster Club helped raise the money to fund that game at Skyland. So a group of parents got together and they went out and sought local business sponsorships. And we also sold some great apparel. So it was just wonderful to see it kind of come together very quickly. The PTSO, thanks to the profit from the Tricky Tray, are going to host a couple of things for seniors. It's their time to shine. It's getting down to the wire there. So Decision Day, I believe, is this week. So we're hosting a bagel breakfast for them. Anyone who is deciding on a career, going to a college, into the military, there's going to be a celebration for those kids. We also are going to help fund some of the busing for the prom, transportation costs, and I believe either participate in a senior picnic or a senior breakfast. And then at the end of the year, for all the students and the staff, we're having an ice cream truck come to celebrate the end of the school year and getting through finals. Oh, and we already have the date for next year's Tricky Tray. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. March. And we have someone very special in the audience who's going to hooked up with all those special prizes. March 21st, 2026. Okay.
Tricky Tray.
Tricky Tray.
And I will go out on a limb and say that for the ice cream truck, there is a 95% chance it will be above 25 degrees that day.
It was rainy last year, right?
Yes, it was. It was cold, damp, and rainy last year.
Kissing chair, though. Not always time for ice cream.
Ice cream is ice cream, man.
Thank you all for everything that you do. I know a lot of people up here are volunteering, and a lot of people out there are doing everything they can. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, next, can I please have a motion to discuss items, oh, sorry, I skipped it, public comment, back to it. Okay, so I'll go through the list again, and then if there's something that you want to mention just about anything on the agenda, now's the time to do it. Mr. Brown?
I'm good.
Good. Mr. Schramm?
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I want to thank the board for unanimously passing the budget. I think you guys are given a really terrible hand, considering looking at the numbers from 2016 to 2021. There's even a decrease in taxation, which is insane to hear about for school districts. The way you guys voted is the same way the community should be voting. Unanimously to support our kids, our schools, and our staff. I also want to thank Jeff for answering all my questions last time after the session. I think it was super important to hear this information because we get information from all over the place, but sometimes we don't get it from the source. And I think it's crucial to be hearing this in this time, especially for our kids. That being said, there were some parts of our conversation that I thought were so important that I need to stress once again to you guys that we should be having a public comment section at the end of the agenda. I think it's crucial to be asking questions after key votes, where some board members even vote no to pass to certain agenda items, where we can't ask as a public why those people voted no, and also why you vote yes. I'm asking you to again consider adding that public comment to the end of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those. Please. Okay, Mr. Renaud.
I agree with everything you said. I agree with everything you
Ditto.
said. And I congratulate the board for having the guts to present this budget. It's unfortunate that the town, there are many members of our town council who refuse to support the school system. It's extremely unfortunate, and we constantly talk about zero tax increases. Unfortunately, they get benefits like health insurance, and they get a salary, and I think that's extremely unfortunate. The law has to, people that have been on.
Oh, yes, illegally.
They do get health insurance. Anybody that's new, that law has changed. So, I really am very grateful for what you guys do. I've sat there and I know it's not always different. It's not always easy. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson? Good?
Yeah.
Anyone else in the public who didn't get to sign up who would like to make a comment in general? Ms. Yanko?
Hi, I'm Stacy Yanko. I live in town. I actually am the high school guidance secretary, and I hold many other positions. Actually, I'll be down in Washington, D.C. lobbying our federal legislators for a lot of the things that they're taking away from all of our schools. I really just want to, I know it's difficult, and I've been in the district now over 19 years, and I've seen even bigger cuts than this. And any cuts are really difficult, but we've had so many over the last few years, even little ones, like one here, one there, somebody retires, somebody leaves, we don't replace them. What I really want to ask from everyone is to continue to not only support our students, but our staff, from administrators to teachers to school counselors. We need the support. It's very stressful, taking on more and more and more and more. And it's very difficult because we're trying to keep all the balls in the air and always making sure that the students are taken care of. And you know what? I know it comes down to numbers, but our kids need a lot. They need the support. They need all of that. So I really just want to make sure that we're all supporting each other and keeping that in mind, because especially at the high school, I feel like it's bare bones, and we just really, any kind of cuts is really difficult. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. And thank you for the work that you're doing, because I do realize that there were years that we had people who wanted to have that 0%, and we see now what that did. Because had that not happened, we may have still been in a big deficit, but it may not have been as bad as it got. So I do want to thank you, and I appreciate your support, but just please continue to keep in mind that we're a community, we're a family here in Hopatcong. I did not go here, but my husband graduated from here, my sister-in-law did, both of my children did. They got a great education here, and they are both very successful. So I, like Nikki said, get really frustrated when people say something negative, because we do have wonderful families, wonderful students, wonderful staff, and we have students who really succeed in the many different things that they do, whether they go to work or the military or go on to a four-year education or have their own business. So I just wanted to thank you, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Okay, I think that will conclude the public comment. 5. Okay, now can I please have a motion to approve, can I please have a motion for number 13, items A through D?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion?
On a motion by Mr. Chaffee, seconded by Dr. Capello, 13A through 13D. Dr. Capello?
Yes.
Mr. Davio?
Yes.
Ms. Schramm?
Yes.
Mr. Chaffee?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes, yes.
Ms. Polachina?
Yes.
Mr. Citrich?
Yes.
Ms. Goulant?
Yes.
Ms. Falcone Schubert?
Yes. Okay, moving on, can I please have a motion to move finance 14A through G?
Yeah, I'll move it.
I'll second.
Any discussion on finance?
I have a quick question. On G, you're receiving 2 checks. Is it for a scholarship? It says scholarship in both of them, but do we know who the scholarship winner is? I mean, how is that assigned?
No, so what'll happen is this amount goes to those scholarship accounts.
Okay.
And then students through the high school guidance office apply for those scholarships. And then they'll be awarded and handed out as we come through the upcoming year. This is just to accept those 2 donations.
Okay, yeah, I understand.
I believe it's June 3rd, right, Ms. Yanko?
Awards.
The senior awards, if you have a chance to go, even people in the audience, it is like my favorite night of the year to see like people who have come back, who want to give back to the community, and then new people and listen to their stories and their families. It's a great night. So those will be awarded when you come for the Rotary. Same idea.
Oh, I had a question for Ms. Yanko. I'm sorry, this is kind of out of, but it'll take a moment. Monday, we're supposed to meet with the students for, was that at 10 o'clock?
I believe that
This is a.
Yeah, maybe after the meeting.
All right, that's fine.
no problem.
All right, 14A through G on the motion by Mr. DeStefano and second by Dr. Capello. Dr. Capello?
Yes.
Mr. Davio?
Yes.
Ms. Schramm?
Yes.
Mr. Chaffee?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Ms. Polachina?
Yes.
Mr. Citrich?
Yes.
Ms. Goulant?
Yes.
And Ms. Falcone Schubert?
Yes. Moving on to personnel, can I please have a motion for personnel 15A through Z? Oh, Z. Wow, we went through the whole alphabet, A through Z. So this section will include resignations, leaves, tenured employees,
Renewals, non-renewals.
renewals, and non-renewals. Can I have a motion?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Of course, I have another question.
As long as it's about personnel, Phil,
It
not your
is,
calendar.
it's absolutely about personnel. Several of the cases have longevity increases, but some, it shows 0. Why is that?
Because they haven't reached the number of years of service to be able to get longevity yet.
But even Stephanie, Mrs. Martinez?
So-
Several years.
So for some folks, it's based on their individual contract.
All right.
So if they were part of one collective bargaining agreement, but now are part of a separate one, there are different words and wording for seniority.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none?
15A to Z on the motion by Mr. DeStefano, seconded by Mr. Davio. Dr. Capello?
Yes.
Mr. Davio?
Yes.
Ms. Schramm?
Yes.
Mr. Chaffee? Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Ms. Polachina?
Yeah.
Mr. Citrich?
Yes.
Ms. Gulon?
Yes.
Ms. Falcone Schubert?
Yes. Item 16, travel and professional development. Can I please have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion?
On the motion by Ms. Gulon, seconded by Ms. Schramm. Dr. Capello?
Yes.
Mr. Davio?
Yes.
Ms. Schramm?
Yes.
Mr. Chaffee? Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Ms. Polachina?
Yes.
Mr. Citrich?
Yes.
Ms. Gulon?
Yes.
And Ms. Falcone Schubert?
Yes. Can I please have a motion for item 18, students and services, A through B?
Well, the
17?
I skipped it. How about let's we do 17 and 18 together then, since I
Okay.
skipped it.
Do 19.
I know. I
Is a motion
Secret
for
society.
item 17 and 18?
I'll make it
I'll second.
17 and 18.
So this is a discussion on both 17A and 18A and B.
Right.
And
Any discussion?
And who had the motion? I'm sorry.
Oh, Mr. Kevin?
Kevin?
And who seconded? Natalia.
Natalia, thank you. Sorry, I was busy flipping pages. Dr. Capello?
Yes.
Mr. Davio?
Yes.
Ms. Schramm?
Yes.
Mr. Chaffee?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Ms. Polachina?
Yes.
Mr. Citrich?
Yes.
Ms. Gulon?
Yes.
And Ms. Falcone Schubert?
Yes. I have a motion to move the rest of the agenda.
Yes.
19, 20, 19 and 20.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Jim and Natalia. Any discussion? Just want to bring to everybody's attention that we're getting off on May 23rd, which is the Monday after Memorial Day weekend? Friday before.
Friday before.
Friday before, and that's our last unused snow day.
Yeah,
Give back.
so just a reminder, and notice will go out to all of our families as part of our calendar for this year. We had 4 built-in snow days. We used 2 of those days. We gave one back the Monday after spring break. The other day will be the Friday before Memorial Day that we will give that day back. The calendar for the next 2 school years is on our website. There are 3 built-in snow days to those calendars in each of the next 2 school years. Part of our calendar, encourage you to take a look. School year will be starting earlier and will be ending earlier in anticipation of our referendum projects so that we can get out and begin summer work while the weather is good and get a jump on things to work on those projects as well, just as an FYI.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Any other questions on 19 or 20 before I call the roll?
People can check the spring break on those, right?
Yes, spring break is on there. Everything is outlined in those calendars. Yep,
That's what I was just adding to say at the end, so you did it for me.
perfect. On the motion by Mr. Chaffee and seconded by Dr. Capello. Dr. Capello?
Yes.
Mr. Davio?
Yes.
Ms. Schramm?
Yes.
Mr. Chaffee?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
19 yes, 20 present.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Polachina?
Yes.
Mr. Citrich?
Yes.
Ms. Gulon?
Yes.
And Ms. Falcone Schubert?
Yes. Okay, board member comments. Is there anyone who would like to give any? I'm going to start with Jim if you want. Good?
I just want to say that tonight was obviously a difficult meeting. We've done a lot of work on this. Jeff has done a lot of work, probably eaten a lot of Tums. It's not easy, and as educators, 3 educators up here, we feel budget meetings straight to our core, so we're doing our best. Thank you for coming.
Jen?
No.
Oh, sorry, Jane, I didn't see you
Oh,
there.
sorry. No, thank you for everyone that came.
Kevin? Good. Bill?
I'm good, thank you.
I just want to say thank you to everyone who had questions and came and asked and listened and continues to ask and listen. And also, I got my tickets for Friday night, and it'll be date night with the hubbies, so I'm excited.
A life.
Yeah, I do actually have a comment, remarks. Today isn't a happy day normally for, passing budgets. It's unheard of kind of for a board to get together and vote unanimously in one shot for about a 5% increase. And so most people rejoice over that. I'm not rejoicing. As Ms. Yanko pointed out, you know what? The staff is the heart of our district. And we're kind of like a snake eating its tail right now. I'm getting a little choked up because I feel bad. Eating its tail right now because as we reduce teachers, that stigma of Hopatcong increases. And when I joined the board, I don't want to point blame, I didn't want to point fingers at what happened, but it's glaringly obvious. Those calendar years where we didn't raise taxes, reduce taxes, I'm no mathematician, I'm sure someone out streaming it right now will correct my math, but at a minimum, we lost $2 million. And it's compounded, actually, because if we raise it 1%, obviously it goes up even more. My goal of joining this board wasn't to cut teachers. My priority are the students and the staff. And I'm going to continue to do that. I'm not one of the more vocal people, but I feel very strongly about what we did tonight, and as Nicole pointed out, it's really bothering me. And I'm a public employee myself, and I know the first thing that gets cut is the people. And the people are the foundation of the municipality, the state, the district, wherever you guys work. And unfortunately, we're the first to go. That's all.
Thanks, Shad.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just to remind you, 75% of our budget is based on people. We don't produce a thing. We produce beautiful, talented, wonderful people. And, it's at a cost. I had to write this out because I'm going to cry. So here we go. It breaks my heart that due to serious budget constraints, we must make incredibly difficult decisions to reduce staffing, including valued teachers and support staff. These are not just positions, they are people who have dedicated themselves to our students and our community. But despite these challenges, our commitment to students will remain unwavering. We will continue to fight for fair funding, seek creative solutions, and support our educators and students in every way that we can. While this is a painful moment, I believe in the strength of our community and our shared dedication to ensuring every child receives the education that they deserve. I want to thank Jeff and Matt and all of my fellow board members for making tough decisions with the students' best interests in mind. And I want to thank everyone, and I'm sincerely very sorry to those who have been negatively impacted by this budget season. Our goal up here is to strengthen this district and not dismantle it. And alongside of all of you, that's what we're going to keep doing. So with that, can I please have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Adjourn.
Really